Today we're going to talk about the Un'Goro Dragon. It's a priest deck. It's pretty good. It has elements sort of the Silence Priest, but still uses a lot of the older deck stuff, I believe, but it has a few Un'Goro cards in here. It's really the major weakness of this deck is it doesn't have very many of the new expansion cards in it, so it relies a lot on the older overpowered priest stuff that used to exist. Really, the reality is the strongest part of the priest deck is a Dragonoid Operative. So you get to discover an opponent's card in your deck. Another really powerful card that you get out of this is another Spite Historian that you discover a dragon. So sometimes if like you're fighting an aggro deck, you'll just pick another Dragonoid Operative, and then you can like pull options, and the options you get out of this are really good. But the reality is there's just a lot of other, I want to just say, better cards in this deck, and so this deck falls short apart from like saying playing the new elemental shaman. But there is a few cool cards in here. The reality is this is sort of like a Silence Priest. It still has a lot of, but it has the ability to go much later game, where I feel like the Silence Priest is on a draw for the most part and can really prevail early game, like around turn 3 or 4. And same with this deck, can also do the same, where in this deck can go much later in the game, because you can, with your Nether Spite Historian, you can pull out really big cards and do well. There's a few really good cards in this deck though that synergize as well, since you are picking up quite a few spells. Like, of course, you pick up Powered Shields. You only pick up 1 Divine Spirit, but you have 2 Inner Fires, because you're going to pick up a lot of, for instance, like Twilight Drake is a really good card that synergizes with it. Priest of the Feast is another one. And you have a few other really offsetting minions. Also, the Primal Drake works just well with Inner Fire. The reality is this game has a really late end curve. The other bonus behind this is by using all the dragons, is that you're not really hurting yourself by using Dragonfire Potions as like your only board clear. You do have 1 Shadow Visions. Shadow Visions is a very powerful card for Priest, because you can basically dupe a lot of cards. You can dupe out another Dragonfire Potion if you need to, and Dragonfire Potion is excellent against rogues, for instance, so this is sort of your rogue board clear. The reality is this deck, my overall opinion is it's sort of a 50-50 deck. It's really a rank 5 deck. I know somebody, I think, got up to about rank 5 or rank 6 with the deck. So just keep in mind, this is an older deck. While it is a lot of fun to play, and that's the whole purpose of playing something like Hearthstone, just keep in mind, it's just you're going to have a lot of losses with this deck, because it has, in my opinion, some weakness versus aggro. Because, I mean, you only have 1 Potion of Madness, you do have 2 Northshire Clerics, but you really are lacking the early game firepower. Like, for instance, Curious Glimmerroot, which is decent. You do have Shadow Word Pains to try to ward off, say, like some aggro. You don't really have any, for instance, 2/1 minions or something. You don't have a way to do early burst damage, it feels like, to your opponent. And I believe that is the ultimate downfall of this deck. Enjoy the matches. I got about 3 or 4 matches in here for you, and I'll do some commentary over them. First match here is a ranked match against a Murloc Shaman, and I typically against most shamans, they're either going to be an elemental shaman or a Murloc Shaman. So the way you should probably approach most games is just to assume that you're going to, especially playing a priest, is that your opponent's going to be an aggro person, whatever, because priest really, that's the way you're going to lose most of the time, is against an aggro deck. So I just coin into this move because I want to get out these Power Word Shields in my hand. I mulligan a lot of cards, so I didn't need to mulligan the other card, but really what I'm looking for is Potion of Madness, which I did not get. And I did get it right here. I got a lucky draw, so I'm able to, but I just kind of save it for now, because I just trade there, I value trade. So that's a decent one. I hope he plays a 2-drop of some kind, and he doesn't. So I'm okay with taking a little bit of damage. So I end up destroying that card. I really want to save Shadow Word Pain against a Murloc Shaman when he draws that 1 card that he's able to buff every time buff his attack every time he plays a Murloc, because that card can get like really out of control. This is great. Now my 2 Potion of Madnesses are really powerful against this type of deck. So I end up potioning that one and destroying that other minion really well, and I can trade. So against Murloc Shaman, I want to just make sure I'm board clearing as much as I can, so he doesn't play like other minions that really buff his other Murlocs. That's when the Murloc decks get like just crazy out of control. He plays Mischief of Mixtures, which is really oh, he got that off the random 1-drop draw. So now we're up to turn 5. So I feel like I'm actually in control pretty well here. And I just do a little bit of face damage, nothing major. He's able to kill off that 1 minion. And he's able to trade and heal, which is fine. So now we're on turn 6. I can use, I probably should have played, I should play Bookworm and I destroy that totem. Yep. So there we go. That's, I think, the best play I could have did there. This is the card you got to be really scared about, but you see his hand is empty. So this is something I expect. So I have 1 Dragonfire Potion in my hand I can use. But the reality is now he is getting close to playing Mega Fin, so he can destroy. So I just want to destroy that card. I don't need to go really all out, because that card just buffs up all this other Murlocs really well. So I think it's a pretty good play by Binding Heal. Also get a self heal. I maybe overdid it. I just wanted to make sure that card was buffed so he couldn't destroy it. He plays the this card actually really helps me a lot, because with priests I have a lot of good draw, but he just wants to get his quest done, so he draws it out, and I think it was only Murloc in his hand. Now he's a 4/4 minion. He snipes. So now I can play Dragonfire, or I can play a Primordial Drake. I'm looking here at what the situation is. He doesn't have that many minions, so I'm able to destroy that minion, so it drops all the health down. So that leads to a board clear. So I think that's probably the best play I could have did there. So he finally gets Mega Fin out, which is totally expected, because you can get Mega Fin out by like turn 4, turn 5. And it's actually turn 9, so he's actually doing pretty slow. Finally able to kill that 1 minion. Now this is where I make a mistake. So really I need to be able to destroy Mega Fin, but I'm looking for Lyra to actually pull out more cards. So really I do some damage to Mega Fin, but the reality is you got to do a board clear, because now he has a ton of Murlocs in his hand. So I do some misplays here. And I should have used Potion of Madness. You see, I actually draw. I use Mind Vision instead. I get Devolve, but I don't have enough mana at the time to use Devolve in his hand. So you're going to see how this game sort of slips away on me here. He devolves me, which is something I should have expected. And now he's able to just buff the remaining minions in his hand. And this is something like pretty crazy. And then he has a beast. I think he's had that in his hand for a while. And then look at that, he draws a Wind Fury. And this is why I wanted to highlight this game, is to show you that you really kind of need to just board clear every time, because the Murlocs, once they start doing the self-buffing and he's on turn 10, you know, they can always get lucky. And this is just the RNG of Hearthstone here a little bit. This is a terrible game I lost. Now this is a game where we're going to see me fight basically a semi-mirror match, because remember I was telling you in the beginning of the video, this is sort of like a Silence Priest deck, and here we are playing against a Silence Priest, and we're going to see how well I do. What I want to do against Silence Priest, or how you want to fight Silence Priest, is I have only 2 inner fires unless they start drawing Shadow Visions. So really you want to just damage. It's kind of counterintuitive, but you actually want to damage these like don't attack minions. I was actually thinking about attacking it, but it just wasn't a very good value trade. So yeah, it does a Shadow Word Pain on it, on that 1 minion, which he should have did on the other one. And I think he mistakenly attacks it, so that minion's really hurt. I don't get a fantastic draw here, because I really want to play Cabal Talon Priest and buff a minion. So I probably misplayed a little bit, but he's gullible enough to like attack it. So now you see he'd have to like heal that minion for a few turns just to start buffing it again. And so I kind of, now I'm sort of forced to play it, but see, I should have just passed and taken 4 damage to the face. But then he could have just healed his minion, so it's debatable. So he's kind of had a bad draw. That's another thing about playing Silence Priest, is you have to draw those better cards, and you have to make sure your minions are fully buffed. So I finally draw another dragon. I pick up Silence, but I could pick up Shadow Word Pain there. I want to use Silence because if he starts buffing a minion a lot, you can just silence it and it'll revert it back down to its normal status, which could be like, say he buffs a minion to like plus 14, whatever, I can just re-silence it. And I think maybe later on I did a misplay where we could talk about how I could have silenced one of his other minions, because he plays so I can silence this minion, and I do, so I just decided to get rid of that one because I don't want it to just be affected at all. And so now I destroy his top minion, and I'm just trying to control the board, and I'm also getting a nice little self-heal. So that you have Binding Heal in this deck, which is a good self-heal. It's a new Un'Goro spell. I think it's a decent spell, but with cards being so good, like, it feels like it's out of place a little bit, but what do I know? So again, I just board clear. Because when he's playing the bigger minion, he's going to try to play a bigger minion as a Silence Priest, so I can use Shadow Word Pain. I can't think of, and since now I also have board control, he hasn't drawn Shadow Word Death, or he would have played it. There we go, now I have Shadow Word. I don't want to play the other dragon, just because I want to have a little bit of firepower in my hand, and also, that's why I also could play Shadow Word Pain, because now I'm looking for another dragon, or a way to, say like Nether Spy Historian comes up in my hand. So he finally top decks a minion, so he has a bunch of spells in his hand, but you can see he's sort of falling behind. So he's trying to buff that minion up as much as he can. The other one can't attack, so he doesn't have Purify or Silence to heal it. So really I only have to do damage to one of those minions. So I'm actually just going to sacrifice it, this Priest of the Feast, and just whittle away that guy's HP, and just make it so like he can't double these minions' health. And so you can see the logic behind what I'm doing. It's really like nerfing him. So I basically, in the other minion he has the Silence, and like see I drew the Nether Spy Historian, and now I can play a larger minion, because we have only a few cards in our hand. So this is the case where drawing a large dragon in my hand makes a lot of sense. So this is where like the late game Silence Priest is really peaked out, in my opinion, past this point. He's trying to buff that minion as much as he can, but you see he's made a mistake. Now he can play, here's the Faceless Shambler. So if I would have kept my silence, I could just silence that Faceless Shambler. It'd be a 1/1 taunt. But I didn't do it. So that's what he was just trying to do. And now I just have to weed through the Faceless Shambler. Not too bad. So he can do only 4 damage. He's got to draw Inner Fire. He's got to be able to buff that Faceless Shambler, draw Inner Fire, which he's trying to do. So here he is. So I also knew that he could do it, so that's why I damaged it. But the reality is now I have Shadow Word Death in my hand, which I haven't played. So he's basically trying to put me on a draw, and the game I think is over. I think I just kill him. Oh no, wait, he's still on a... I'm just trying to think if I could kill it, but since I'm going to be able to heal myself, he can only do 4 damage. So he would have to draw. He'd have to draw Purify into a holy fire to actually kill me. So he would be able to do 8 damage to me, since Silence Priests don't run any direct damage spells. So he did draw Holy Fire, but he didn't draw Purify. So he's just outdrawn, and that's how you beat one of these priests, is really just controlling him down and just destroying those minions you don't want to attack. Here's me playing against a quest rogue, where you can see I'm less of a dragon priest and more of a silence priest. So I draw the Twilight Drake, and so now I have the combo in my hand. I have Divine Spirit and Holy Fire, so that's the combo I'm looking for. And I also have the Drake, so I have to get to turn 4. I have to really get to turn 5 and hope that he makes a mistake that I just told you not to make, which is it's counterintuitive when you're fighting priests to attack the minions sometimes, especially as sort of this aggro, where rogue is wanting to be kind of more aggro, or quest rogue, it seems to be more aggro. I just heal myself because I don't have any play. So, but I am drawing more cards, and each card I draw buffs on my Twilight Drake, which is not a fantastic card, but in this situation where I have the combo, it's a fantastic combo. So he's going to complete his quest probably by like turn 3 or 4, because he's already drawing the cheese doodle, you know, where he's like pulling that draw card minion. So it's time. I drew it, and guess what? I also drew Power Word Shield. So I have an excellent combo. I do Power Word Shield. I have 5 mana next turn, and what I'm hoping is he does not attack that Drake, because then I would have to heal it. So I am hoping he's greedy and he just goes face, because he's probably just like not threatened. He's like, oh, I can complete my quest next turn and do, you know, a ton of damage to you. Okay, so I just drew a Cabal Talon Priest too, which is really great. It only gives me 3 HP, but I want to get Divine Shield and everything out, so I couldn't play all that stuff. I couldn't play a Cabal Talon Priest, which I didn't, and I only need 2 turns now to be lethal. So now I have an 18-18 on the board, and there's literally, unless he draws Sap, which most of these rogues, they're using the newer version of this deck, of like a greedier version of it, to try to get the quest completed by like turn 4 or 5 here. They typically run Firefly, they don't run Sap, so this is a case where this feels a lot like a very well drawn out Silence Priest now, doesn't it? And that's one strength, but that's really the strength behind this deck. It's not so much at being a great Dragon Priest deck. It's more like, okay, I'm just beating you by turn 5 because I'm an awesome Silence Priest. That's why I really wanted to highlight that last match. Now this last match here is against a Control Paladin. But just to highlight on that last match, that's a real strength behind this deck, like we saw with the Hunter in my previous video with the Hyenas, that it was really the Hyena that was carrying me through most of the games, it felt like, with all the 1/1s, not the quest itself. So this is a really interesting, just sort of a dynamic game, and this is this is really the main reason why I play Hearthstone, because against aggro decks, it's pretty boring, you know. Aggro decks in general are pretty boring to play. I mean, yes, you can win a lot, but there's nothing dynamic about it, because up to like turn 3 or 4, every game feels the same. But in Hearthstone, what's cool is by like the later turns, the game can really be different. And Control Paladin is actually a really good deck. So this Glimmer Root card here is actually really good. I only have 1 in my deck, in my collection, but it's a fantastic deck. 1 compared to, say, like the 4/3 Shifting Shade or whatever it is. First of all, this is a battle cry minion, and basically you should know other people's decks and how they play them, and you basically get a free card from their deck. So it's a fantastic card. It's only a 3-drop too compared to a 4-drop, and it's not a death rattle minion. So this was sort of a misplay on my part, but it's fine. I can just buff it. That's what I really wanted to do. So I mean, I couldn't really play it. I really wanted to, you know, just get rid of his Repentance. One cool card that you could play, it's a tech card, is the Keeper of Secrets, to try to fight off these Paladin secrets. And I've tried to play that card, but every time I play it, you know, you just play against aggro or something. So I finally draw a dragon, I believe, because remember I Power Word Shielded, but I didn't have enough mana. I could have healed the other minion, the Cabal Talon Priest, but I feel like it's not really worth it. So, because I mean, I feel like he probably would have just traded up anyways. So instead, he just does two damage to the face, which is totally fine. Now I have 5 mana, so I play this, and I am able to draw a weapon. The True Silver Champion for the Priest is just a really good card to draw, because as a priest, you want to be able to do some direct damage, you get healing, and you can heal yourself. So priests don't really, I don't think they can wield a weapon unless you get Medivh's, play Medivh's. Remember, it only does 1 damage. So this is one really OP thing about is when you do draw the Dragonoid Infiltrator, See, look at now I can kill this just do 4 damage. Does 5 damage to me. I heal myself for 2, so I really only do 3 damage to myself, and I could heal myself if I want to. And I just do some card draw. I'm just kind of in control. This is sort of a control game, so it's kind of going. We're already on turn 7, and we're both. He's at full HP. So I'm drawing. I have the combo now in my hand, which is Divine Shield, Inner Fire, and I do have 3 mana left. So this is a great. I held off on playing Lyra. So I also, you know what I should probably do is play a Circle of Healing, and I would only heal that other minion by 1. So let's see if I play it or not. The reality is you should play as many cards as you can, because now I have a 10/10 minion, and you know he's going to do some equality. So I probably misplayed there, and I could have played Circle of Healing and drew another card, really. Because you really want to draw like higher quality cards. As we are going into the later matches, so that was a misplay. But he had the blow equality. Now I do have Potion of Madness, so I can capture that 2/2 and kill his own minion. Then he just has 1 minion on the board. I just drew the other Nether Spite Historian, which is fantastic. Let's see what I want to draw here. The other 2 dragons are kind of garbage, so when in doubt, I just usually draw the Dragonoid Infiltrator. And I knew he had a secret on the board, so I wanted to just get rid of that secret. So he just does, you know, it just turns a 1/3 into a 1/1. Play the Dragonoid Operative. Oh, awesome. I get the Un'Goro pack because he played Elise. So now I don't have Elise in this deck, too. What I usually do when they play this Tyrion guy with the Ashbringer and Divine Shields, I just Shadow Word Death it. And this deck does not run Slime, but that would be a way that you would counter it, and I just eat the damage. So yes, he's going to do 15 damage to me with this Ashbringer. And I play the jump card I pulled out earlier, which was the Adapt to Silver, your Silver Recruits or whatever, your Silver Hand Recruits. So this deck is a pretty legit ranked deck. He plays the Healing Ragnaros. He's able to come in, he kills that minion. That's exactly what I wanted to do, waste 5 damage on a junk minion that I'm not going to be able to do anything about. So I kind of misplayed here. I should have interfired. I'm a little greedy or something. So I should have interfired that one guy instead of I take a lot of damage to myself. But I think the reason why I just do it is because I feel like I'm in control. And so I want to drop his HP down. Since he's at 30, and boom, I just drop it down to 15 with that Electria. And I did end up crafting her, and so I will cover a hand Warlock deck that I've been playing a lot recently. So this is really good for him because now he gets adapted. He gets to summon plants. I'm trying to think. You probably wouldn't pick up Divine Shield. Would probably be another really good one for him because I don't think he can really buff plants. But again, who knows? So I'm deciding what I want to do. Perfect. I draw Shadow Visions. I want to draw something really good, just to board clear. Now I draw all his little plants. So I have Holy Nova next turn if I really need to. I just want to waste. This is where a case where Binding Heal works out okay. I just heal myself. Now I'm really. He's like basically 2 turns away from lethal. So he's got to do. He's gonna have to attack it, and he uses his little plants to kill my dragon, which is fine. But now he's gonna do the self-healing. But you can sense he's in danger. Like, I really enjoy playing the Kazaka's deck but the problem is it has a real hard time against aggro. Because by this time I would have played the Unchained guy, and I would have had free healing the entire time. So every turn I'm regenerating 2 HP no matter what. So I don't have a dragon. I can't get around this. So I play Holy Nova. It's junk. And I'm counting the cards in my hand. I'm trying to figure out, should I play, what should I do? Should I play this Cabal Talon Priest? See, this is the weakness with Cabal Talon Priest. If you don't, it synergizes very, very well if you have other cards to play with. And so again, he kind of, I think, misplays, and he doesn't go for face, and he attacks this one critter. And so he's just doing damage to himself. He's not doing, he gives up 15 damage. So think about it. I Shadow Word Pained his guy, and he's absolutely done 0 damage. So this is pretty cool. I have another Dragon Fire Pusher Man. I was hoping he would play some more cards. That's what I do. Now I have enough cards. I don't have enough cards in my hand, so now this is a great turn to play the Un'Goro pack, which I do. And this is awesome. This is why I wanted to highlight the game. This is the Elise pack is really cool. I get Dino Size, and I get this Frosting. So what I do is I want to freeze him just in case he draws a weapon of any kind to try to kill it. So he's been just fighting for board control, it feels like, a lot. And so he's trying to play the Doomsayer, which is not going to work. But for whatever reason, it's sort of a desperation. See, he does draw a weapon, but he can't kill it. So now guess what time it is? Dino Size into a death. This is really cool. This is what Hearthstone's all about. It's playing really unique games that vary up late game and just have a lot of fun playing a lot of different unique cards. Hope you enjoyed these games. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you guys in the next chapter.